in-depth, investigative. This is KXAN News Today.
It is another foggy and cold start to your morning here as we kick off this Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Miller, meteorologist Kristen Curry, of course, beside me. You're going to notice it right when you step out the door, get in the car, hit the roads.
And for some, stormy already. Let's get to it because at this point, we've got storms moving through the Northwest Hill Country. Not severe. You can see a couple lightning strikes picking up in Lampasas County. A lot of this, though, just moderate to heavy rain. We'll take what we can get, and this is some good-looking rain we've got falling out towards Lomita, stretching down towards southern San Saba County into northern Llano. This is going to continue to work its way generally east, so we do anticipate to get a piece of that here in Austin later this morning. In the meantime, it's all about the fog. Low clouds on our Indeed domain camera there. Temperatures in those 40s and low 50s. Most of us beneath 50 though, and we're not going to go very far with those temperatures. Looking at the current visibility, you can't see very far in front of you out on the roads. Visibility less than 2 to 3 miles across the Austin metro. Even worse as you work your way into our eastern counties, less than a mile visibility right now in Giddings. So that will impact your morning drive. We want to make sure that you know that you got to factor in some extra time because you're not going to be able to go at a posted speed with fog that thick. Temperatures in the 40s now, 50s this afternoon. 2 rounds of rain, though. We have one this morning, another tonight into the overnight hours, and likely tomorrow morning as well. So a lot going on. We'll discuss everything you need to know coming up here in just a little bit. But in the meantime, after an ice storm left hundreds of thousands of people without power just a couple years ago here in Austin, the city promised it would look into the possibility of burying power lines. So what's happening with that? KXAN's Grace Reeder has an update.
Should Austin's power lines be underground? It's a question the community asked repeatedly after a winter storm forced thousands of power outages a couple years ago. And while it seems less pressing right at this moment, the work to figure out what burying our power lines might entail is still happening behind the scenes.
Even in the middle of the summer, we have to make sure that this work continues so that when we do get another storm, and we will get another storm, that we are protected and that our customers are able to keep that power, which keeps them warm, keeps them safe.
Next month, Austin City Council members will get the results of a council-initiated study looking at the feasibility of moving more of our power lines underground.
I think it's just important to remember that the study results by themselves don't provide the necessary strategic approach to ultimately determine what our long-term strategy is. And so we're going to take the pieces bit by bit and then weave them into an overarching strategy to present to council later this year.
We already know one of the hurdles of moving lines underground: cost. Thousands of miles of power lines like these run above ground in Austin. The Public Utility Commission of Texas told us it would take more than $1 million a mile to put them underground. So to bury all of them would cost billions with a B.
Right, this is a 40 or 50 year type of thing that needs to happen, but we need to prioritize where we start. And so understanding where are we most vulnerable, where can we get the most bang for the buck.
Grace Reeder, KXAN News.
Looking deeper here, that feasibility study was just one of the efforts that Austin Energy discussed with City Council back in 2023. The Austin Energy general manager also admitted that Austin Energy should have sent emails and text messages to customers more quickly. It added 2 new full-time positions to Austin Energy's internal emergency management team, and it reached out to utilities and cities that frequently deal with hurricanes for additional insight. All right, well, could proposed tariffs increase your bar tab? President Donald Trump implementing a 25% steel and aluminum tariff, and that could impact brewing operations all across the state. A lot of these breweries rely on foreign steel to brew their beer and foreign aluminum to share it with customers. State Capitol reporter Adam Schwager has more.
It's a global economy, and the brewing industry is international, and it's going to make things difficult.
White House Brewing imports the aluminum for their cans.
Almost all of that entirely comes from China.
And the steel for their brewing tanks?
That predominantly comes from China as well.
And with thin profit margins, buying a pack of beer from them could soon cost an extra
$1 or $2 a 4-pack.
Aluminum too.
President Donald Trump's proposed steel and aluminum tariffs won't just raise operating costs for breweries, but for any product that relies on foreign steel and aluminum at any point during the production process.
It's a tremendous amount of uncertainty. So imagine you're a manufacturer trying to figure out what is going to be the next 5 years or 5 months.
Nathan Jensen is a government professor at UT Austin. He says if tariffs don't raise prices, they wouldn't be working properly.
The whole goal of a tariff is to raise prices to help domestic producers. It is the feature, not the bug.
The stated reason is national security.
TCU professor Travis Tokar agrees, saying there's a debate to be had on if the purpose of the tariffs is good or bad, but
It's pretty clear. Yes, prices will go up.
so instead of talking about what tariffs will do, Tokar thinks the focus should be on why they're being implemented, then having a discussion on their worth.
As a consumer who has seen tremendous inflation thanks to the last administration, the thought of seeing our prices go up again isn't super pleasant. So if there are reasons for this, or if we're working towards something bigger, it'd be nice to know that.
In Austin, Adam Schwager.
In 2022, the Beer Institute estimated that Trump's first round of metal tariffs had cost American beverage companies more than $1.4 billion. In national news, Tulsi Gabbard is closer to becoming President Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence. Gabbard's an Iraq War veteran and previously a Hawaii Democrat. She joined the Republican Party back in 2024. This is after the Senate voted yesterday to advance her nomination. Confirmation vote will take place either today or tomorrow. And if confirmed, she's going to oversee the nation's 18 intelligence agencies. Fort Liberty has a new name. The U.S. Army military base in North Carolina, one of the biggest military installations in the world. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said he is renaming Fort Liberty back to Fort Bragg. When previously named that, it honored a Confederate General Braxton Bragg. The new name is honoring a soldier named Roland L. Bragg. According to the Pentagon and a statement, Roland Bragg received a Silver Star and Purple Heart for combat during World War II. Good morning. For the last 4 years, a Cedar Park boy has dedicated nearly all of his spare time, his weekends, and extracurricular time to chess. Now 10 and in 4th grade, he's more than just a chess prodigy. He's a national champion, and I sat down with him to talk about all he's accomplished so far, his future, and yes, to play chess. Before our match in Advik Manchanda's living room ever got going, a breach in etiquette. Oh, I messed up again, huh? Here we go. We shake hands? Okay. That early flub was as good as the game and the 2 others that followed ever got for me. Man, we're in a battle right now. Who's gonna blink first here? The calculating chess phenom methodically putting me on defense while carrying on a conversation. Did you like it right away? Like, were you having fun right away?
No, I wasn't having fun right away because I usually lost some games and made me feel sad. So I started improving.
Now he's having plenty of fun.
Advik Manchanda.
And in first place with 5 points, Advik Manchanda.
Hours of daily practice turned into tournaments, which turned into wins, titles, and championships. Between the 35 trophies and 27 medals, space on the shelf here is at a premium. But in December, Advik flew with his family to Maryland to try and win another against the best in the country. What was that feeling like when you realized you had won that tournament?
I was really with joy. I even wanted to celebrate for it already, even though I didn't get it yet.
After 7 games, he was the last 4th grader standing, earning not just a national championship, but also recognition from the governor.
It was pretty special.
His current U.S. Chess Federation ranking of 1975 deems him an expert. It's in the top 2% of all competitive Texas players, kids and adults.
Like, see if you move your bishop.
When he isn't traveling to tournaments, Advic spends his weekends playing here at the Cedar Park Library.
He stays very solid, he doesn't take risks, and he kind of just takes advantage of every little opportunity he sees.
By the way, that little girl next to Advic is his 6-year-old sister, Annika. She's the 9th ranked player in the country for girls her age. Their love for the centuries-old game comes as chess experiences a renaissance. In 2023, Chess.com said it had more than 57 million monthly active users, up 550% since January 2020. Now, 10 years running, the library meetup is seeing the same growth.
A lot of people came into chess by being online, then they wanted to play with other people.
Advic's most high-profile game came last year against Grandmaster Hans Niemann, a top 20 player in the world. A tune-up before a tournament in Dallas.
You're very talented. What's your name again? Advic, okay. You're very good.
Advic went on to win his section in that tournament, which included a nearly $3,200 cash prize.
Chess is pretty fun if you want to play for fun, but competitive it turns a little more stressful.
Long-term, he hopes to earn an invitation to the All-America chess team and eventually become a grandmaster.
Then I want to become the youngest world champion.
Until then, he is happy to keep adding to the trophy shelf.
Because you moved your rook, you took the pawn, I got to do a bank ring checkmate to your king.
And offering pointers to amateurs like me.
It's so cute.
It was a lot of fun. It was sort of, I like casually play chess, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people
Right.
do. And so I sort of sat down not knowing what to expect. And like within the first 30 seconds, I was like, oh.
Okay, this kid's good.
Exactly.
This kid's good.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That was a cool story. Thank you so much, Tom. Let me show you what's going on outside this morning. We've got storms on radar, nothing severe, but if I zoom this down, you're noticing we've got storm action out towards San Saba County, Lampasas County, stretching further east into Burnett County. This is all headed our direction just in time for the morning commute. So heads up here. This is that 80% chance that we had warned you about yesterday. It is here. It is beneficial rain. We will take it. 49 degrees currently here in Austin with variable wind. You're noticing the observation site there at Camp Mabry indicating rain. Have a little bit of drizzle, a little bit of mist, sprinkle activity within some of those low clouds and that fog out there. So it is going to be a damp, wet, kind of messy drop off, I'm thinking. So extra time will be a good idea. Later this afternoon, a high of 58, still with the cloud cover, but the potential for some more isolated rain pockets later on in the day. I think the best coverage actually happens this morning. You can see by 6-7 a.m. We've got scattered to widespread pockets of moderate to heavy rain. There could be a few isolated storms in the mix too, and this is going to continue to work its way east through the later part of the morning and early afternoon. Here's lunchtime, and you can see eastern counties getting in on that rain action. And then for the later part of today, couple isolated spots for the afternoon, evening, but then we get in another round. Two different disturbances, the first this morning and the second coming in overnight into tomorrow morning. Now this band could be centered over our eastern counties, Austin Metro, Eastern Hill Country. It's going to wiggle a little bit, but then eventually it clears by the time we hit dawn tomorrow. And then for most of our Wednesday, we're just looking at a 10% chance of rain or less. That being said, really, the next 24 hours is when we anticipate the best rain coverage, that round this morning and that round tonight into tomorrow morning. And that's where we pick up anywhere from about 1/4 of an inch to an inch in most locations. I think some isolated spots of an inch to an inch and a half are possible, but the majority of us will be within that 1/4 of an inch to an inch. That being said, it's going to come down pretty fast in spots. So there is a low flood risk today. It's a 1 to 2 out of 4 here. Not anticipating severe weather. Most of those storms are just going to have some lightning, maybe some small hail. But in general, this is going to be more of a rain event than a storm event. How about these temperatures? I mean, we told you yesterday the roller coaster is real. 50s today, 70s tomorrow afternoon after that rain clears. Then look at as we get into Thursday and Friday, 40s and 50s behind that cold front. There will be some winds too on Thursday. Then we get up to the 70s again by the time we hit Saturday. And then another cold front comes in here, drops our temperatures heading into the weekend. So your 7-day forecast shows those 50s today, 70s tomorrow, and then we dry out. The rain chances don't look super impressive Thursday nor Saturday, but the temperatures are going to continue to go up and down with some winds fighting behind the cold front Thursday and again on Sunday. Tom?
Thank you, Kristen. The state attorney general is demanding Hutto ISD hand over information after an undercover video investigation. Want to show you this video obtained by KXAN. An advocacy group sent a woman posing as a parent of a transgender child to the district. That woman then asked about participation in sports, and the administrator said the district would have to follow the sex on the child's birth certificate, while noting if the child had a birth certificate from out of state that now reflected their gender identity, they would accept that, even if that had been changed since birth. AG Kim Paxson sent a letter to the school district, and it requests documents on district policies on transgender student participation in athletics. Also, the district's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office, Hutto ISD, told us the district received that letter and is in the process of complying with the request. Well, Austin ISD classrooms, they've been a bit emptier lately. In a recent video, an Austin ISD elementary school principal says staff is noticing fewer students actually coming to school. The district says it cannot pinpoint one specific cause, but told us there is real fear related to family separation. KXAN's Jayla Washington reports.
We recently noticed more empty desks in our classrooms, and we want to remind you, we miss you.
A message from Austin ISD posted to make one thing clear. It loves and supports all of its students and families. Staff with an emotional plea, as the district says fewer students have been showing up to school recently. This person says if kids aren't able to come to school right now, staff will be there when they're ready to return. The Trump administration has promised more deportations and ICE enforcement, and Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the state will help. It's left districts like Austin with predominantly Hispanic student populations trying to keep up.
Our leadership team will stay on top of any policies that may affect our district, and will share details if there is an impact to our services.
While AISD hasn't shared specifics on how much attendance has dropped compared to previous years, it did tell us some absences could be because of kids out sick tied to flu season. It adds, though, that there is a real fear in its community related to family separation, causing some families to keep their kids from school.
We miss you.
Jayla Washington, KXAN News.
Austin ISD also recently issued guidance to staff about how they should handle situations if federal immigration enforcement shows up to campuses. President Trump did away with a decades-old policy limiting agents from making arrests at schools, hospitals, and churches.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Longhorns back home taking on number 2 Alabama tonight. 4th time Texas has hosted a team that at one point or another has been ranked in the top 2. This will be a tough one. Alabama, leading scoring team in the nation. Mark Sears, one of the best players in the nation. And for Texas, well, Rodney Terry talking about this league like everybody talked about the Big 12 last year. Clearly the best in college basketball this year. Right now, SEC has 4 of the top 5 teams. And what they've learned down the stretch as they try to avoid another 3-game skid in the conference, you blink in a game and it might be too late.
I don't know if I've ever been a part of a league that's been as ultra competitive as this league is every night, where you literally have to coach every game like it's an NCAA tournament game. You know, there are no possessions off in this league. You know, you could have had seasons where in conference play, every possession is not going to cost you the game. But in this league, man, every possession is a big possession. And the margin of error that you have in this league is very, very slim. Another team with a lot of height, a lot of size. They do a great job crashing, but they're probably the fastest team we played to this point right now.
NBA last night, Spurs on that rodeo road trip, Game 5, and it is in Washington last night. Chris Paul, right before the half, knocks down the 3. Spurs were up 18 early, lost the lead, got it back, and then Julian Campenny, how about that? The near clean dunk. Bench kind of gives him a 5. But he did get the bucket and the foul. Victor Wembanyama, 5 of 8 from 3 for Wemby. And then De'Aaron Fox, that's his patented step back. He had 30, 15 of those coming from the free throw line. Wemby, Looked like he takes about 7 steps, but he just covers a lot of ground. He had 31. Spurs get the win. They snap a 2-game skid. Spurs are on their way to Boston to take on the Celtics on Wednesday. Back to you.
Thank you, Roger. And former Dallas Mavericks star Luka Doncic made his debut in L.A. last night. The Lakers took on the Utah Jazz. You know, Dallas traded Doncic last week to L.A., and that upset a lot of people. It shocked basketball fans. He was a staple to the Dallas franchise. Doncic scored 14 points last night in just 24 minutes, his first game back on the court since Christmas with the Mavs, as he's been out with an injury.
Well, coming up, where do you charge your cell phone overnight? Why it might be a recipe for disaster. We have that story. If you're listening on the KXAN Today podcast, thanks for joining us. We hope you join us on air for that. Or you can always find these stories over on KXAN.com.